So, hello, here I am, your one and only Kailash Sharma. Let's start today's session. Um, okay, so yesterday I was reading about these components or these nutrients that we consume in our body, these carbohydrates, fats, and protein, these kind of things. So, I thought let's record a video and explain what are these things and what are the use of that so that it will also be helpful in for me to memorize it or to know like how much of the information I still remember, and then I can just reread it on phone. And yeah, let's start. So mainly we consume three nutrients. There are a lot of nutrients that we consume, but what I have read yesterday, um, I have read only about three components or nutrients: carbohydrate, fats, and protein. So let's start with carbohydrate. And yeah, carbohydrate is a basic or is the easiest form of energy that we can take in our body, and it is the easiest source of energy because it is very close, like the structure we can say the structure or the components that make carbohydrate, it is very close to the actual energy that we need in our body. So like we need glucose, right? Glucose is the main source of energy, and glucose is the simple sugar that after processing will be converted to ATP, the energy unit or energy molecule we can say. So carbohydrate are very close to these glucose structure, and there are some carbohydrates that directly contain glucose, and some contain sucrose, fructose, these kind of carbohydrate, and these sucrose, fructose also made up of glucose, and yeah, they are very easy to break, and then it can be consumed by our body easily. So classifying carbohydrates, we can classify it into two types. There are simple carbohydrates, and the other one is complex carbohydrate. So in simple carbohydrate, we have glucose, obviously, fructose, sucrose, lactose. This galactose is also one of them, and I think there are some other also, but these are the main. And the complex carbohydrates, we have starch and fiber. Uh, we are categorizing them in two types because I think it's because simple carbs are more easy, and like they will be converted to energy pretty fast compared to the complex carbohydrate. And actually the one of the complex carbohydrate, fiber, that does not get that does not get digest in our body, and that is like that will be used for some other uh, functionality or other things, but not for the energy creation. That will not be used for that. That will not be used for and energy creation. So so starch and fiber, these are the complex one, and starch can be like can be I think it can be converted to energy, but fiber are totally, I think, indigestible, we can say, like our from our uh, through our body or digestive system that we have. And maybe I can confirm on this again. This is something similar. There is something similar to what I'm saying, but maybe there can be some correct. There can be some correct more information about this. So yeah, and there was one thing about fiber that I was reading. Yeah, there are two types of fiber again. There is water soluble fiber, and then other one is non water soluble fiber. So Water soluble fiber, there are different use case for these two. And water soluble fiber mainly create a gel like structure with the other components, and that will slow down the digestion process, and also slow down the sugar absorption in our body. That is very useful. And the insoluble, the non-water soluble fibers that are very useful for uh, like I think they kind of uh, they can be clot with uh, what we say stool in our body, and it will be very helpful for it to excrete. I think it is helpful in constipation and these kind of thing. And yeah, that's why when we say when someone has constipation or some uh, s- like intestine problem, then doctor recommend to eat apple that contain a lot of fiber. So these are the two types of carbs. It is simple and complex. And there is one use of this fiber I can there's one use I can think of. And then when I was reading, it was like it helps reducing cholesterol in our body. And how it reduce cholesterol in our body, it's like the fiber binds with bile enzyme, and it's bind with bile enzyme, and that will be excreted out of our body. How this binding with bile enzyme reduce cholesterol? The reason is cholesterol is used to produce bile enzyme. Okay. Okay, so when fiber binds with bile enzyme and move or throw the bile enzyme with it from our body, so now we need more bile enzymes for digestion processes and all these kind of functionality that bile enzyme has to do. So now cholesterol need to create more bile enzyme, and this process happens in the liver. So now liver need cholesterol to create bile enzyme, so it fetch or it take cholesterol from our body tissues, and it fetch, so it's kind of taking the cholesterol out of our body in the liver and to create bile enzyme. So this is how it reduces cholesterol. So it's kind of a cycle. So this was the use case that I can think of currently for the fiber. I think that's it for carbohydrate. If I'm not missing, or maybe I am missing something that I have read, but I cannot currently remember that part, or that part. I don't have to say, or if I don't know what I have to say. Let's move on to the next one. Let's talk about protein. Then we will talk about fats. So protein is the element, is the nutrients that will be used to build up our muscles. So muscles, if we say the kind of building block of muscle is amino acids, and protein is made up of amino acids. Okay, so when more than two amino acids bond with each other, they called polypeptides. Okay, I think polypeptides, they will be called when they bonds with more than 10. There is some information or something that I was reading, like there is some categorization between polypeptides and peptides. It was more than two amino acids when bond with each other, they are called polypeptides, or more than 10. I'm not sure, but yeah. So when these polypeptides again combined with each other, they form something. There was particular, like it was not written like this they will combine to form protein, but it was something like they form a structure, or they form some curves or something like that. Like it was not written in that part that they combine and form proteins. It was it was, they were using some other word, or some they're using some other word, like they are not just saying it will combine, it will form some structure, that then if they will the protein will be formed. So okay, so continuing, protein is the like protein needed to repair and build our muscles. And the reason is in amino acid we have uh, nitrogen, and that is, if we say, like, if we go deep down in our muscles, so that is kind of the need for our muscles. So we cannot say like other nutrients can be used for building muscles, because we need nitrogen, and that will contain in amino acids only. And then we say amino acids combined form a protein. So in conclusion, protein is needed for building our muscles. And the digestion part of protein, I was also reading about how it get digested and absorbed in our body. So when we consume protein, it can be in form of powder, it can be in form of food or anything. And when we take protein, then it goes to our stomach, and there was an enzyme pepsin that will be formed, that will be created with the help of HCl acid that we have in our stomach for digestion. So that HCl helps, or HCl create this pepsin enzyme, or I don't know if we will call it enzyme or some other word, but the term is pepsin, pepsin, and it will be used to break protein into polypeptides. So polypeptides form protein, right? So it breaks the protein into polypeptides. Now it passes to our small intestine, and there these polypeptides will be broken down further into amino acids by the enzymes, um, or what is that word, by the enzymes that are being formed by that small intestine things. Like there is the inner lining of the inner lining of the small intestine, we call it tunica mucosa, and that has some, I don't know what to say, but that has some part that will create certain enzymes, and that will we come from liver and pancreas. I think some pancreatic enzymes are there. So there are 2-3 enzymes that will be used to break these polypeptides further into amino acids. Now this acids can be absorbed by the villi. Villi means there are some, uh, I don't know what to say again. There are some part that is the inner lining of the tunica mucosa. There is some part that has some, what we say, fingers like structure inside inside around the lining of that small intestine, that will absorb the amino acids. And that amino acids now can be passed to the our blood, uh, to be used further, or it can be passed to the liver also. There it will be stored as protein, and it can be further used for other processes, or it can also be converted to, I think, glycogen also, for energy requirements. But mostly the energy that we the energy that we require, actually the energy we require mainly comes from carbs. Like first priority is the carbs, then I think then it's the fat, or oh, this is a good question. So first the energy we require, it will the body our body will fetch it from the carbohydrate. Then maybe it will fetch it from protein. No, it will be from fat. Then be it will use protein to form energy. So I think that is protein is the last part. So I can recheck it, but yeah. So protein can also be used as energy source if you are not taking carbs, and if you are not taking fats, then proteins will be used to get energy for our body. Then that can reduce the amount of protein that is required for the muscles to grow. So when we say you should eat more protein to build up muscle, so that's the reason. Because if you are not taking much protein, and sorry, what I'm saying, so when we say takes carbs also and fats, so carbs also, if you are building muscles, because if you're not taking carbs, then it will body will take the energy or convert the protein to glycogen and then glucose, and it will take energy out of it. So then protein, the actual protein that we are taking to build up muscles, it will be used for the energy. So that is not a good part. That's why we also take some small amount of carbs for the energy that our body requires. So this is how the protein gets synthesized and synthesized, not synthesized, digested and absorbed. um, you should not use okay. And yeah, so I think that's it for protein. Again, I am not, maybe I am missing some part of protein also, what I've read, but let's continue and move to fat. Fat is, again, it is also kind of energy source, and there are some other use cases of fat. I have not read about the uses, like the benefits of having fat. Maybe maybe there are some things that fats, like there are some uses where fats needed to absorb some vitamins in our body. I don't remember reading about it. Maybe I will read about it later. I think I will note down these two things. I think I was considering. One was which get absorbed, which source will be used first for to convert energy if we are not eating carbs, fat or protein. So which one comes first for energy creation? And second question, uses of fat, actually. What is the actual uses of fat? I think the fat, when we talk about fats, there is something, fatty acid, or fatty acid kind of thing, and that is used for many uses. That for many use cases. Why I'm saying use cases, that will be used for many processes. And yeah, we'll read about it. But again, we can categorize the fat into two part. There are not two, it is three actually. So there are saturated fats, there is unsaturated fats, and then there is trans fat. So I think the most healthy out of these three is unsaturated, or unsaturated. I am confused by the naming, but yeah, there is one fat. Let's keep it unsaturated for now, and then comes saturated, and then there is trans fat. That is, let's talk about trans fat first. Should not should first complete the sentence, then go next. Okay. Then third is trans fat. Let's talk about trans fat first. So trans fats are the processed fat that that we get after, like when we process food in factories, and the fat that we get, uh, the kind of fat that we get, that is trans fat, and that is somato. Okay, I think somato is there. I have to pause.